Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to work on a homemade glitter paste background. So as usual, here we are. I'm going to show you what we're using today for supplies. I'm using this tape here so that I can put down my panel as well as the stencil on top to keep it in place. And here's my panel. I cut it a little larger than what I need so I can trim it down and clean up the edges. And I have my little palette knife here. This is what I'm going to use to mix and actually apply the glitter paste. And this is a stencil. It's absolutely gorgeous from Picket Fence. I placed an order on scrapbook.com, and this is one of the things I picked up. It's so beautiful, so ornate. And I have my clipboard, which I will be putting my panel on top, and then the stencil on top of that, and then placing the glitter paste. I'm also using these sponge blending tools and these inks from Simon Hurley, Clear Skies, as well as Midnight Snack. And I'll show you how I'll use those in a second. And I have an empty container to do my mixing for the paste, and I just got this at the dollar store. And I got the glitter as well at the dollar store. I'm using silver today, but you can use any color that you have on hand. And tacky glue, which is the main ingredient. So here we go. I'm just going to speed through this. You're going to see me. I'll start with Midnight Snack, and I'm using this color just around the outside edges. I thought it'd be nice to have a darker color around the outside and then a lighter color in the center, almost like a focal point. So it'll kind of bring your eyes to the center, and I think it'll be really pretty behind the silver that we're going to use for the stencil. So I'm just going around just the outside edges and just keeping as much of the real like center, true center, open and white so I can put the other color on top of it. So I apologize for all the shaking. My camera is attached to my desk, so any movement on my desk moves my camera. But it won't be going on for long, so bear with me. Sorry about that. So here I am. I'm just blending right along the outside edges here. Making sure it's all nice and blended. When I put the second color, you really don't have to be too concerned about it blending in with the other color perfectly, because with the stencil is so ornate that the background will kind of just melt together. You'll see how it comes together at the end. It's really pretty. I thought it was a nice touch, but you could use any color for this technique, any color combinations. The options are limitless. So here I am with Clear Skies. And I'm just going to put this right in the center, all the way around. I just blotted on the side only because I didn't want like a large, intense circle of color when I placed the blending solution, the blending tool down with all the ink. So I'm just going all around, make sure there's no white, and that's it. That's all done. So now we're going to move on to setting up for the glitter paste. So I'm using the clipboard, and I'm going to take a piece of that tape and I'll place it, you'll see I'll place it on the back of my hand just to take off some of the tackiness and it doesn't rip my cardstock at the end. And I'm putting it on the back and putting it down. And the reason I'm doing this, I don't want the tape around the edges because I want to use the stencil from edge to edge. So I just put it on the back to hold it in place. And here's the stencil. I'm lining it up and I'm trying to center it as best as I can, and then I'll take some tape and I'll put it all along the outside edges. And you'll see when I do the top and bottom, I'm very careful not to tape onto my panel because I do want it edge to edge, and I'll be trimming this down as well. So the edges kind of get the dried glue and it becomes very jagged and textured. So that's why I make my panel a little larger so that I can trim it down and clean up the edges, and it'll be perfect. So here you see me grab the container and open up the glue. And guys, I'm sorry, there's no like measurements or exact signs to this. I just put a glop of glue, and you don't need very much because you're just putting a thin layer on the stencil. So little goes a long way, as you see here. That's all I use for this entire project. So you can get a lot of glitter paste out of that container of glue. And then I take the glitter and I just sprinkle some in and I start mixing. As far as trying to determine how much glitter I use, I mix it up. I put my first you know, I sprinkle some in at first and I start mixing it, and I take a look at it and I take a look at the glue itself and kind of see how much glitter is dispensed in the glue. And if I want a little bit more, then I just pour a little bit more, and I just keep going like that. But usually 2 sprinkles of the glitter, like I just did now, is enough, and it makes it super glittery. It's awesome once it dries down. This dries down, the glue dries down completely clear, so all you'll see is the glitter, and it just shines and it's beautiful. So there we go. It's easier to see if you use like a colored glitter against the white glue. You'll be able to see better how much glitter you have in there. But I just start placing it down and start thinning it out and spreading it as best as I can, edge to edge, like I said, so that the entire panel is covered. And you'll see that little bit of glue that I used is literally perfect amount for this panel. And that's it. I'm kind of pretty much grabbing the last of the glue, and you'll see I just spread it across from side to side. I go different angles. I go from top to bottom, bottom to top, left to right, right to left, just to really get it in there good. Get a nice layer. And that's it. The reveal is the best part. I can't wait until you guys see it. It's so pretty. But that's it. See, I went edge to edge all the way around. And that's it. We're done with that. Now I'm going to carefully remove the tape from around the stencil. And it peels back just fine, as you see there. And then here comes the best part. It's so pretty. I just grab one corner and I peel from the corner back in one fell swoop, you see here, and just keep peeling back. That's it, and it reveals itself. Voila! How awesome is that? So like I said, the glue will dry down clear. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to dry, I went and cleaned all my supplies, and now I took another panel, just a little bit smaller, larger than my final piece. And I'm going around the edge with the Versamark. And I'm doing this because I wanted a silver background behind my panel. And I don't have any silver cardstock or anything of that nature, so I'm kind of making my own. I'm going around the edges with the Versamark, and then I'm going to put the silver embossing powder on top of that and heat it up, and it'll give me an edge. I don't need to do the entire card because you're only going to see the edge. My final panel will go on top of this and cover up the whole center. So I just wanted the silver edge to be peeking out a little bit and just give it a little bit of a highlight and stand out on my final card base. So here I'm going with the silver embossing powder and just placing that on top all the way around the edges. And yes, I'm making a mess because you already know. You already know how I feel about embossing powder. It's so pretty. It's so fun to work with. It's amazing to watch it melt down. But, oh man, this stuff gets everywhere. Okay. Tapping it off, all the excess, and I'm going to pour this back into the container. Waste not, want not, right? Okay. There we go. And clean up, of course. And I take my heating tool, and here we go. Just heating up all the edges, and there it goes melting. It's so awesome. Shiny goodness. And this will come together super fast. I originally was just going to do the background panel showing you the glitter paste, but I figured I'd, kind of put it together on a card so you could see how it looks all done. And of course you can use any stencil, you can use any colors for the glitter. It's just have at it, have fun, be creative. I'm using my tape. Yes, I will use a ton of it as usual. You already know me. Here we go. I'm going to center it, just eyeballing it, leaving a tiny little edge around that. There we go. And now I'm going to show you. Look at that. It was pretty hard to capture how shiny this is, but in person, I promise you, it is glitzy glam for sure. So pretty. And I do like how the ink kind of highlights the center there. I think that was a nice little touch. So I'm going to go and trim down the edges. And there it is, all done. And I'm going to use some foam adhesive just so I could pop this up. So it is beautiful and it's ornate, but just to pop it up and give it a little bit more attention makes all the difference. So I'm just going around the edges here on my panel, on my base, putting some foam tape and of course down the center just so it doesn't sag. Peeling off the backing on the tape. And then you will see here, when I put it down, it all comes together. And that's pretty much it, guys. Pretty straightforward, simple. I hope you enjoyed. There it is, all pretty. I have a couple pictures here. And that's it. So please subscribe and support. And if you already have, then I will see you in the next one. Bye.